Imagine standing normally. Then, suddenly, your vision narrows, your ears start ringing, your body becomes weak, and seconds later, you wake up staring at the ceiling. What happened? Did your brain shut down? Did your heart stop? The answer depends on the type of fainting. Vasovagal syncope. You are sitting in a clinic waiting for a routine blood test. The second you see the needle, a cold sweat breaks out on your forehead. The room starts to spin, your vision tunnels into darkness, and an intense wave of nausea hits your stomach. Then you collapse. The floor catches you. This sudden system crash is a reflex called vasovagal syncope. Your brain detected a threat, but instead of preparing you to fight or flee, a nerve called the vagus nerve becomes incredibly overactive. It slams the brakes on your heart rate and drops your blood pressure to the floor, draining the blood straight out of your head. People might laugh and call you squeamish or dramatic for fainting at the sight of blood, extreme fear, or heat. They ignore the fact that your autonomic nervous system literally hijacked your body. You're not weak or overly dramatic. You are someone whose body executed an extreme, uncontrollable emergency shutdown. Situational syncope. You wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. You stand at the toilet and suddenly the room goes completely black. You wake up on the bath mat with a bruised shoulder. This blackout, triggered by a specific action, is called situational syncope. Whether it's from a violent coughing fit, straining during a bowel movement, swallowing, or simply urinating, these everyday actions can spike the pressure inside your chest or aggressively trigger the vagus nerve. Less blood returns to the heart, meaning less blood reaches the brain. Society might treat fainting on the toilet as an embarrassing joke, but this is a documented reflex where your body's pressure valves violently misfire. You're not a punchline. You are experiencing a sudden, invisible drop in blood pressure caused by a glitch in your body's own plumbing. Carotid sinus syncope. You are getting ready for work, tightening the collar of your dress shirt. You turn your head to check the mirror, and instantly you are unconscious on the floor. The lights just go out. This hypersensitive reaction is called carotid sinus syncope. Inside your neck, there is a tiny pressure sensor called the carotid sinus. In some people, it becomes extremely sensitive. A tight collar, shaving your neck, or just a sudden head turn tricks your body into believing your blood pressure is dangerously high. It immediately drops your heart rate and blood pressure to save you, accidentally starving your brain oxygen. You're not fragile. You are operating with an overly protective biological sensor that overreacts to the slightest touch. Orthostatic syncope. You've been lying in bed, you stand up quickly to answer the door, and suddenly gravity feels 10 times heavier. All the blood plummets into your legs. Your body tries to compensate by tightening your blood vessels and increasing your heart rate, but the system fails. The blood doesn't make it back up to your brain, and you go down. This failure to fight gravity is called orthostatic syncope. It can be triggered by severe dehydration, sweating, vomiting, or blood pressure medications. Sometimes it's caused by a damaged autonomic nervous system that simply forgets how to regulate itself. People might tell you to just stand up slower, completely misunderstanding the mechanics at play. You're not clumsy. Your internal anti-gravity suit is temporarily broken, leaving your brain stranded without fuel. POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. You stand up to wash the dishes, and within seconds, your heart is racing at 130 beats per minute. Your vision blurs with intense brain fog, and an exhausting wave of fatigue crushes your chest. It feels like you are running a marathon while standing completely still. The floor feels like a magnet. This intense standing intolerance is called POTS. Unlike classic orthostatic syncope, where the blood pressure just drops, your main problem is an explosive, abnormal heart rate response. Your body is desperately overcompensating just to keep you upright. Critics might claim you are just out of shape or making excuses to sit down. They ignore the brutal reality of living with a nervous system that treats standing up like a life-threatening emergency. You're not lazy. You are fighting an exhausting, invisible battle against gravity every single time you leave a chair. cardiac syncope. You are playing a sport, feeling completely fine, and then, with absolutely no warning, no nausea, no tunnel vision, you hit the ground. This terrifying, abrupt blackout is called cardiac syncope. It is the type doctors fear the most because your heart physically cannot pump enough blood to your brain. This could be an arrhythmia, where your heart beats dangerously slow or so frantically fast that it can't fill with blood. Or it could be a structural defect, like a narrowed aortic valve or a thickened heart muscle that physically blocks the blood from escaping your chest. Sometimes a blood clot in the lungs stops the flow entirely. Friends might dismiss it as a random dizzy spell because you wake up feeling okay. But you're not just dehydrated. Your heart temporarily failed to sustain your consciousness, and your brain pulled the plug to force you flat, demanding the blood it needs to survive.
Neurological conditions and psychogenic pseudosyncope. You fall to the floor, your body violently jerks, and when you wake up, you are deeply confused and your tongue is bleeding. This isn't a faint, this is a seizure. It is a chaotic electrical storm in the brain, vastly different from the quick, brief drop in blood flow that causes syncope. Alternatively, you collapse during an intense, traumatic argument. You appear entirely unconscious, but your brain's blood flow is actually completely normal. This is called psychogenic pseudosyncope. It is driven by immense psychological stress and anxiety. Cruel bystanders might whisper that you are faking it for attention. This completely erases the reality of a mind so overwhelmed by emotional trauma that it physically shuts down your awareness to protect you. You are not putting on an act. You are someone whose brain has used an extreme involuntary escape hatch to survive unbearable stress.